and welcome to The One Show with Sabah
and Luke. Now, as it's World Children's Day, we've taken over and booked tonight's guest.
I think we deserve loads of cake because of last week's 500 miles on the rickshaw. So, I've invited the nation's favourite baker.
And I really wanted to book Beckham, but he wasn't available. So we've had to make do with his dad instead.
Please welcome Mary Berry
and David Beckham.
Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you very much.
We've seen on your Instagram account that you've been playing football with Harper. Is she any good? Maybe is she going to follow in your footsteps one day, maybe?
She's actually really good. You know, she started a few months ago and she loves it. So she loves going out on a Sunday and kicking around with her dad. So we'll see. You never know. Fingers crossed.
Mary, welcome to the show. We were just wondering, after a big bike ride, what's the best cake to recharge our batteries?
How about a Victoria sandwich? There's nothing better.
Perfect, that's brilliant.
Right, I tell
well
you
done,
what,
guys.
you two are way too good. Over you get. Amazing.
Let's hear for Lincoln Sabah and the rest of Team Rickshaw who are over there enjoying a David and Victoria sponge cake.
Yes.
And we'll put some golden balls
And
on
welcome
the top
both. Nice to see you both.
Now, of course, Team Rickshaw have shown what young people can achieve if given the chance to flourish.
Yes, but not every young person gets that chance. As a UNICEF ambassador for the past 12 years, David has been campaigning for change around the world. Today, his duties took him a bit closer to home.
Good morning, David.
Good morning.
Welcome, I'm James.
Thank
I'm the
you.
head.
Thank you, James.
We're a UNICEF rights respecting school. We do loads of work helping children all around the world to be the best that they can be.
Good morning. How are you?
This is Anna.
How are you?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? I'm David, by the way.
You've got David Beckham in the room. What would you like to ask him about his role as a UNICEF ambassador?
Do you like football?
Do I like football? I love football. Do you like football?
Alan, what would you like to ask?
What do you think's the most important right?
What do you think is the most important?
The most important right, I think the right to a voice, because then, you know, children are able to speak about the pollution, better way of being able to play or live a better life.
If you could pick only 3 rights to have, which right would you have and why?
Well, healthcare is definitely an important one. I would say clean air, and it has to be education, because it's so important for children. I personally want to thank you all, because all the great work you're doing here actually goes over to these different places to help children and gives them the opportunity to live better lives. So keep it up, because it's helping a lot of children around the world. Oh, nice. Nice. Yes. Oh, another goal. I hope I don't hit the camera. Maybe I should.
Action!
What a brilliant surprise for those youngsters, isn't it? What fundamental things helped you flourish then, David, when you was a boy, would you say?
I would have to say the support of my family. You know,
Yeah.
my parents were there from literally day one till I retired. So they followed me everywhere. They did everything with me. They gave me the support that I needed. And not enough children are, you know, around the world. And I've seen that with the travels that I've done with the field trips with UNICEF. You know, unfortunately, some children don't have that support. So there's definitely the support of my parents.
And for you, Mary, now? Because, I mean, even as a grandmother now, you know, things change, obviously, from a parent's perspective through to a grandmother's perspective as well.
I think when I was a child, I loved being outside and playing and dens. And my grandchildren are just the same. They're very sporty and they love the outside. In all weathers, just dress for it.
Yeah. And as you said, David, you know, lots of children around the world just aren't brought up in families that are supportive. I mean, staggering statistic, 385 million children estimated live in extreme poverty. And what are you doing then as the ambassador of UNICEF to try and help that?
Well, there's many things that we do. You know, there's certain territories that we focus on with the Seven Fund. You know, there's 7 kind of places that we really kind of go into and try and raise as much awareness for those particular causes, and also raise as much money as well. And I think that we're very proud of what we've achieved over the last 3 years since the Seven Fund started. But I've been UNICEF ambassador for a number of years and been part of UNICEF for the last 16. So. And
that Seven Fund was set up to kind of mark your 10-year anniversary as an ambassador.
It was.
Named after the number that you had.
Yeah,
at
it was. And obviously, like I said, I've worked with UNICEF for the last 16 years. But 3 years ago, we sat down and said, what more can we do? How can we focus on, certain territories and do more stuff? And we've done that. And it's been an incredible 3 years. We've exceeded the expectations of what we wanted to raise. So, we're very proud of what we've done so far, but there is so much more to do.
Of course. And we saw some pictures there of you visiting various projects and being around the world, as you said. And you went to Swaziland, didn't you, recently, and met a little boy called Sabah. So tell us a bit about him then on the project you visited.
He was an amazing young boy. There's many places, like I said, that we've visited before, but Sabah was an amazing young boy who is lost his parents through HIV and AIDS. He has the disease himself, but he's an amazing young boy that does so many things and so many great things. But one of the things that we've helped with the Seven Fund is it wasn't just what he was going through. He wasn't getting the right nutrients, he wasn't eating, and the medication that helps with HIV and AIDS for them to cope a lot better. He needs to take that with a full stomach, and he didn't have a full stomach. So what we've done, obviously, we've helped feed not just himself, but other children that are suffering with the disease, and then also he's able to, get the right medication, and that's another thing that we help with the Seven Fund.
Because Swaziland has the highest rate of HIV infection in the world, and yet that it's reducing.
It is reducing.
Through work. So for you to go there and to meet the likes of, Sabah and friends and what have you, and to know that what you're doing is having an effect, what's that like for you,
It's
David?
incredible. There's so many people that do so many great things for UNICEF, and obviously with the Seven Fund, what we've done, obviously with the centre, it gives kids like Sabah the chance to actually go to the centre, and he's able to be in a safe place where he can actually talk about the conditions that he goes through, how his future looks, and he's able to do that with other children that have got HIV and AIDS, and that's kind of a real comfort for him.
And I mean, as a dad yourself, David, to 4 children, and obviously they have a privileged upbringing. So how have you made sure that they understand over the years? I mean, they're a bit older now, the boys, but how have you, made them understand that not all children have the same background, and that children are struggling around the world? What have you told them as they've been growing up?
I'm really proud of the work that we've done, and I'm really proud that I can then come home and actually teach the kids of what Daddy's been doing, because when they see Daddy going away on a trip, they know that I'm working, but sometimes they don't know everything that obviously I do on the work side. So, to come home after a UNICEF trip, I love taking pictures, and I bring them home and show the kids exactly what I've seen, what these children are going through,
the reality,
and how you can make a change. And I'm very proud of the kids. For Romeo turned around a few years ago and said, how can I help? And he did this, he did the kids' London Marathon, and he raised £7,000 through just doing the London Marathon, which he then put into the fund. So, they understand that they live a very lucky life, and what they have, other children don't have around the world, and they're excited and really proud to help.
Well, one team that have been doing their very best to raise as much money as possible is Team Rickshaw, and as it's World Children's Day, we thought we'd throw it out a little bit, didn't we, to the question. So, Shona, have you got a question for David?
Who does the school run?
Yeah, who does the school run?
Well, I do the school run. Luckily, I'm retired now, so I actually can do the school run every single day. So I do school run, then pick up. I didn't do it today because I was busy with, obviously, such a busy day and an important day, but I do the school run.
Is it a full-on route? Do you spend like an hour and a half by the time you've got here?
I'm a full-on taxi driver. You know, I had 2 of the boys go to the same school, so it's not too bad. But it's one side of London, then the other side of London for Harper. So
I bet you get stops on the way.
I do actually.
All good fun.
Yeah, well, to find out more about World Children's Day and David's work with UNICEF, head to the One Show website.
Now, Mary's new BBC One show, Country House Secrets, starts this Wednesday. And here she is, becoming Lady Mary at the Real Downton Abbey.
The gatherings here had defined a generation. The parties have evolved since then, but they still bring people together to talk, laugh, to dine in an elegant style.
Mary, you look absolutely stunning. How lovely to see you.
Very exciting to see the salon so alive with people.
Can I offer you a drink before you go any further? There's a non-alcoholic or a champagne cocktail.
Thank you very much. To keep up my reputation.
Oh, good.
Well, Mary. Now, the thing is, we didn't realise. Otherwise, we would have got the fizz in. Dave, actually, bring the fizz in. Come on, it's Mary Berry.
Is this the good stuff? Is this the good stuff?
This is the 3 for 2 carver.
OK, perfect.
It'll have to do. It'll have to do. But it's not just the food, is it, Mary, in these wonderful houses that you're seeing? I mean, you're looking around the beautiful houses, you're meeting the people that own them.
I'm going down secret passages behind that baize door, you know,
thank you,
and seeing, because they're all open for visitors, in every house, they live in the house. So I go where other people don't go, and down the passages, and with Lady Carnarvon, I'm in her kitchen, cooking with her, and she did a wonderful first course, and I actually cook for a party at the end. So I do a bit of cooking, but I have a good look round too. And it's lovely. They live just as we do in a sort of way. You know, if we had a party and Lady Carnarvon just went out and picked all the flowers and brought them in and washed the vases and did them, you know, it was, well, it was meat and drink to me.
Is it rude to ask if you had a favourite? And would you be happy to say that, if they're all watching?
Each one, I started with going to Highclere, and I thought, oh, I just loved going out with the dogs. They had wonderful spaniels with, they behaved so beautifully. They walked down a hill and in a long line, not on leads, and they just were just so well behaved, and I you know, rather like one man and his dog.
Great.
And I loved that, and I cooked a pheasant stew for them all, and they were so appreciative. And that was a highlight for me.
This is the pheasant stew. Look, David, look at that for a meal.
And look at the tin plate, and it was all served in a room that had cobwebs at the top, and they sat all the way round, and it was. They just loved it. It was proper food. And their appetites, you know, I thought I'd met enough for an army. There were about 12 of them.
Really?
All of their suits that all matched in, I think it was Harris tweed. You know, that sort of, wouldn't anybody else like to be next to you? Harris tweed, bit rough, you know.
And especially with Highclere Castle, I mean, Downton Abbey, it's all about upstairs, downstairs. And I think of you, Mary, as very much upstairs. I mean, Queen Mary, after all. But where do you see yourself?
I saw myself as being extremely nosy, and I was wanting to ask all the questions that you don't when you go around the house. Obviously, you see all sorts of things, and I had a huge surprise because Tutankhamun is in. You go down passages to the basement, and there it is because Lord Carnarvon's father, grandfather, went out to Egypt and found it with his friend.
And that was Howard Carter, wasn't it?